Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. Today, we're finishing Lady C's book. That's right, I have enjoyed this book so much and the ending does not disappoint, so I can't wait to dive into this with you. Just a heads up, we will be covering Spare Us, a Harry next. So I am going to get my hands on this book. It's just coming out, I think tomorrow. So I'm going to get my hands on it, give me the weekend to read it. I still have other videos coming up, so check back for those. Don't worry, I'll keep the videos coming. But I will dive into it. I'm planning on diving into it Monday. That should give me time to get my hands on it and start reading it. So I can't wait. Again, it's Spare Us, a Harry coming out. So I can't wait. And then we'll see. After that, I was thinking Palace Papers maybe, but we'll see. Whatever you guys want to do is what we will talk about. Without further ado, with our coquettish background here, let's wrap up Lady C's book. And can I just say, I have thoroughly enjoyed this book. It has been such a good, fun, easy read. I've just really had a lot of fun with it. You guys have been awesome as always in the comments. Really having a lot of fun with it too. All right. So if you're reading along with me, we are picking up around page 378 where we left off, and we will finish up this book, this chapter. Okay, so right off the bat, I highlighted this passage, which I'm going to read for you now, and we'll discuss. It says, "As for Harry, I doubt that he will persist in sharing his suffering with the world except as and when it engenders the response they both require." So I find this very funny because, again, this book, Lady C, has been spot on about so many things. This book came out in 2020, and I want to say, oh, Lady C, hold on a minute. This little whiny duo has lots to complain about, and they're going to let us all know, a.k.a. read Spare. But it's funny because she starts out with, "I doubt he will persist in sharing his suffering." No, he will dig deep and share suffering from when he was like, I don't know, a kid and William pushed him or whatever it was, just ridiculous stuff. Don't worry, the depths of their suffering as they see it, they're just boundless, right? So they'll supply us with tons of information for years to come. And I do hear that she's working on her book, meaning Maggie Pooh here. So, I can't wait to read that one when that drivel comes out. Although I feel like I've already read it because we know that Dum Dum Crayon Eater did not write Spare. She had her grubby little paws all over it, her bronze paws all over it. So I feel like that was her book. But one with her name on it this time will be coming out, so I hear. And I, for one, am here for it. We will have so much fun talking about that one. Oh, yeah. I did want to tell you that since I won't be having a book review this time tomorrow, you know what video I'm putting out? Her Smug Looks. You're welcome. And I got bonus video coming out at this time on Friday too. So again, check back because I got lots of fun stuff coming out. We're not going to miss a beat here on this channel. I don't take days off. Let's keep going. It is kind of sick. I've been doing like 3 videos a day for a long time, and I'm pretty proud of that. It's a sickness, really. But I'm sorry, the content just keeps flowing out of me. These two just keep pissing me off and doing stupid things, so I have to talk about it. I have to. Speaking of, I'm telling you, check out Patreon. We have so much going on over there, and you guys, let's see, what day is this going out? This is Wednesday, so starting tomorrow, on Patreon, Jay and I are reacting to, we found I'm using the word documentary very loosely and in quotations. Starting tomorrow, that's going to go up there where we are reacting to this documentary called, I'm sorry, I'm bracing myself. I'm swallowing down the bile that's rising in my throat. Duchess of Style. You guys, they made a documentary talking about how wonderful her style is, and we've already recorded it, and I could not stop laughing. We could not stop making fun of what style. Sponsored by Hefty Bags, I guess. I don't know. The Duchess of Messy. Anyway, so definitely check out Patreon. We have a lot of fun stuff going on over there. Okay, sorry, back to the book. Here we go. So again, she didn't realize that Harry's wanting to make money and throw his family under the bus runs as deep as it does. And so there we go. She also goes into how Harry blames his mother's death for things that have nothing to do with it. Quote, "He's not overly bright, and the fact is Diana messed him up from the word go by spoiling him rotten." I love it. Lady C, she does not beat around the bush, and I'm here for it. So many of his underlying problems have been due to his lack of boundaries. He's never going to be he's never going to be healthy until he faces the facts. Personally, I don't think he has the brain power to do so. Oh my God. Again, Lady C just ripping him a new one, and we are here for it. I've said the same thing. Every book now I've read about them says that he's not very bright and he has a pretty serious anger problem, which again, we saw in Spare. Oh, I just saw the picture. Look at this. See, a preview of the smug looks we're going to get in tomorrow's video. So remember, Lady C here was talking about their need for, quote, financial freedom, whatever that actually means, right? Because again, they both had money. Well, I'm skeptical of her money, but they point out that Harry apparently had Diana's inheritance as well. On top of, he was lying about not getting money from Charles. It's since come out and been proven that Charles was in fact giving them money, even after they did their whole Megxit thing. So you just can't believe a word out of either of their mouths. Lady C goes on to say Meghan had turned her desire to swap the limited and restraining royal platform for one which would give her the freedom of movement she required, as well as the ability to control it, into a matter of life and death, with her and Harry at risk of a lifetime of mental illness. Again, Lady C much better at the words than she words better than me, but I mean, spot on, right? It's just spinning this victimhood. It's continuing to have Meghan controlling the narrative and their quest for greed. So she goes on to say, you wouldn't have been able to blast Meghan out of here with an atomic bomb if she had been given free rein to make all the money she wants to. So what Meghan actually wanted was the freedom to exploit herself and Harry to the maximum commercial advantage while remaining a working member of the royal family. Even so, she would still have sought to create an American platform, not only because there she wanted to gain the admiration she needed, but also because she would be able to control the narrative more successfully with a tame American press rather than a, quote, uncontrollable British press. All right, so at the palace, apparently there was shock that Meghan would, quote, stoop to using mental health as a cover of what is essentially greed and self-indulgence. Now, I love this so much. Lady C goes into that only spoiled brats would think their mental health is affected if they don't get everything they want in life. Mature people cope with frustration, and frustration is something that everyone has to cope with. You only have good mental health if you can cope with it positively. If you can't, it means you're a spoiled brat who needs to grow up. So while her blogs indicate that she always had a propensity for believing that the frustration of not achieving her ambition would affect her mental health, the palace understood her attitude and believed that she was only exploiting it cynically. I love this. I think this is such an interesting point that Lady C brings up. They tote out the mental health when it suits them. And again, when you really stop and break it down, it seems to be they're using mental health as like Lady C says, what is essentially greed and self-indulgence. So then Lady C goes on to explain that Meghan has a formidable ally in her mother. Doria has evidently expressed the view that the best thing her daughter could have done was leave Britain to forge a new way in the United States. Great. Birds of a feather, right? She claimed to be worried about Meghan's mental health. Don't you love how those two love to throw that around, especially Harry, I think. Anyway, she claimed to worry about Meghan's mental health because she was so unhappy in Britain. That's because she didn't try. She didn't even bother to try. Of course she was unhappy. She talked about, I sat in the cottage and watched The Little Mermaid. Remember that bullshit she trotted out? I'm feisty today, but I just keep thinking about that. You didn't even try. Every book I've read pretty much, including Lady C's here, has gone into how she purposely kept her calendar very light, and the royal family didn't want to put too much on her at the beginning of their marriage. Hell, they only did like 72, I think it was, engagements or so. I mean, this whole time. And yet here we are bitching years later about how hard they had it and how bad their mental health is. Give me a break. Then a courtier went on record as saying, Miss Ragland is a pleasant and dignified woman, but she has very little experience of the world at large, much less of the royal world. As for her daughter, quote, she is the most spoiled, demanding so-and-so. That's the exact verbiage they use. I can think of a couple words I'd like to fill in that blank. I have ever had the displeasure to encounter. To that I say, where there's smoke, there's fire. Haven't we heard a million accounts of this exact same behavior? Love this so much. Lady C explains that both Harry and Meghan are cauldrons of bubbling, overheated emotions which not only threaten to erupt, but frequently do. Their misery prior to moving to the U.S. was palpable. It took loved ones aback to see how truly desolate they were, despite having so much going for them and despite being so in love with each other. I'm sorry, I had to laugh at that part. I'm sorry, pawing at somebody and holding on to them with both arms, that's not love. So the book wraps up with the stunt they pulled right before, it's actually the day before, the Queen's 94th birthday. This is the 21st of April, 2020. At the height of the stuff going on in the world, the YouTube doesn't like to talk about, all that stuff, they decided that it would continue to be the most tone-deaf couple in the entire world, and where people were actually suffering, they felt like they were suffering. So they decided to go ahead and issue a declaration to the editors of The Sun, the Daily Mail, Daily Express, Daily Mirror, all in Sunshine Sachs lingo, and let them know. They just put out this whole stupid statement. I'm not even going to read it all. But basically they say there's a human cost and a way of doing business, and it affects every corner of society. And it's gravely concerning that an influential slice of the media over many years has sought to insulate themselves from taking accountability for what they say. All this bullshit. And again, you can't believe anything that comes out of their mouth. I would say, look at the two of them. They don't take any accountability for anything that they say. Nothing's ever their fault. They'll never take responsibility of anything. And if you try to pinpoint them on some of their bullshit lies, like the racism claims and stuff, no, that wasn't us. That was the media, even though we heard it come out of their mouths. Side note, I forgot about this until Lady C brings it up. Do you remember that in the thick of it, in the 2020 stuff, they acted like on their websites, they actually, I think it was the Sussex Royal they were still using at that time, doesn't matter. Harry and Meghan posted that they would be providing updates, quote, as to the best and most accurate information. Can you believe that? They found themselves being mocked for laying claim to a level of expertise they could not possibly possess. So then their website was closed down, and they had to rely on friendly journalists and postings from their supporters. You guys, you talk about coming across as just completely, I just keep going back to tone deaf because I don't know what else to say about it. Just completely tone deaf. People are really suffering out there, and those two thought that they would be, the information disseminators through all this? So when this got shut down, they started providing help for Project Angel Food, which is a charity that Doria Raglan happens to somehow be involved in, happens to like, and started to communicate through them on Instagram, apparently. Okay, so finally the book wraps up with this, and I do want to read you this last part because it's so good. Pain or no pain, Meghan and Harry are a double act who protect themselves using any resource at their disposal. To date, their associates have thrown her father, his brother, his sister-in-law, even his naysaying grandmother under the bus. Whether they are responsible for these veiled attacks or they only benefit from them but do not actually set others up to launch them on their behalf, the fact that they do not disassociate themselves from these stories while creaming in the that's what she said, while creaming in the benefits, leaves a mystery as to their level of knowledge and involvement. Responsible or not, they nevertheless hide behind a rich arsenal of aggressive supporters who do not flinch from attacking on their behalf. Boy, have we seen that. And the aim of each attack is always to preserve them while bearing everyone else under a fusillade? I've never seen that before. Fusillade? Let's see. This was only a game Diana played, And as this is the absolute opposite of how the royals function, Harry and Meghan need to take responsibility and discourage their friends and associates from playing such a nasty, destructive game. Wow, so well said. Again, they won't take responsibility for anything. And I actually feel like, and maybe I'm reading too much into this, Lady C she can speak in very eloquent and sometimes flowery language, but if I just cut through it, I feel like she's saying they know what they're doing. They're behind it most of the time. And even if they're not, they have this army of supporters, which I cannot wrap my head around no matter what. I can't get my head around it. How can anybody support these two after so many provable lies? I don't understand it. So just by this alone, they're never going to learn. They're never going to change. They're never going to see what they're doing. It's just completely screwed up and completely wrong. And that's that. I mean, they'll go on to continue to, I don't know, exploit the families even more. They'll come up with more dirt on them. Again, she's supposed to be writing a book, so I can't wait to see what else they have to throw into that bull crap and what else their supporters could possibly say about them. But they never cease to surprise me, right? Guys, that's it for the book. Man, that was a good one, right? I cannot believe how I love this book. I thought it was so well written. I found out some new stuff there. I found, relearned some old stuff. It was just very interesting, very well written. Way to go, Lady C. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I will be covering Spare Us, a Harity, that's what it's called. So again, I will be getting my hands on that and starting that very soon. So check back for that. But in the meantime, I'm still posting videos, so look for those as well. Thank you so much for sticking with me and following along with this, as I have thoroughly enjoyed it. If you want to further support the show, I do encourage you to check out my Patreon. I do a lot of extra content over there, deep dives, lots of fun stuff. I even cover episodes of Sex and the City if that's your jam, but a lot of Harry and Meghan stuff. So check that out. It's patreon.com/Real Housewives Recaps. That's where you can become an executive producer. I'd like to thank my executive producers so much for all the support. So I'm going to read your names, and if you want to become one, check it out on patreon.com. So a huge thank you to Linda. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you to Paige. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you to Mary. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Mr. K. Thank you, Kay. Thank you, Shauna. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you to Aaron and Frank. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Ann M. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Ann H. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Corey. Thank you, Glennis. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Dewey. Thank you, Patty. Thank you, Adair Becker. Thank you, Erica. Thank you, Amber. Thank you to Annette. Thank you, Barb G. Thank you, Diana, LOL. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Allison B. Thank you, Jean. Thank you to Lori. Thank you, Pauline. Thank you, KT. Thank you, Jolene. Thank you, Stromboli. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Loie. Thank you, Lucy. Thank you, Georgia. Thank you, Susie. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, Robin's Landing. Thank you, Helen. Thank you, Maura. Thank you, Ashley C. Thank you to Molly. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Sand Squid. Thank you, Rachel. And thank you, Linda. And if you want to be part of the group and get your name shouted out and check out more content, more deep dives, check out my Patreon, patreon.com/Real Housewives Recaps. Guys, thanks so much for being here. I can't wait to bring you the next part of this book. Have the best day. Bye-bye.